Now, good evening, everyone. Thank you for waiting a couple of minutes. My baby brain was not working. But honestly, we are thrilled to be here tonight. And we've even got a magic appearance because dun, dun, dun,
Hey,
Mr. Crunk Chocolate himself. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I wanted to, wear my purple, try to match y'all. I'm just one of y'all, except for I'm not. But I'm happy to be here.
It's the Purple Podcast tonight. We could do that.
Let's go. Yes, thanks for having me. Truly.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining us. Now, you know Emily already,
Yes.
but this is Emma and Lindsay. Both
Nice
this is
to meet you.
and yeah, I mean, what a day to be talking about City and Villa, because the deadline day transfers haven't stopped, have they? With Chloe Kelly, it's been a mad one. So let's, in fact, we'll get started there, shall we, Crunk? So we'll get to the Villa game in a sec. But I mean, as of about an hour ago, it was announced that possibly Chloe Kelly's on her way to Arsenal after United has been the rumoured name. I can see you shaking your head already, Crunk. What are you thinking about her possibly leaving to go to Arsenal, of all people?
I understand why she said no to Brighton, but obviously I would much rather she went to Brighton. I just don't like Arsenal. So like from that aspect, it bums me out. And like when it all came out at first, I obviously, she felt her hands were tied by making this post. She's just doing what she can. And, she used some phrasing and things like that, which forced their hand. Like they can't hold on to her any longer without Gareth constantly being asked about it and it becoming this huge thing. And that's kind of what frustrates me, because like I understand her pain. There are a lot of it. It's like I see both sides. Like I feel her pain. I want the best for her, but also it's like now we have to send you to Arsenal. Like I think that's why purposely you're trying to send her to Brighton, someplace where, because she's doing it so for the Euros. Like we know 100% that's what it is. Serena was like, hey, you need to be playing some starting time in a good team. Brighton, they're not bad, and they could very much use a person like Chloe Kelly. And I guess I don't know Arsenal as well, but it's like I think she would have to kind of play for starting position there as well. Yeah. So it just feels like disingenuous almost. Like I know she wants to leave and she wants to play, but it's like, do you want to play for starting time, or do you just want to
go?
Yeah, or do you want to be at a good team? Because like I know she said she wants to stay near Manchester, which made sense for United. I would have hated it, but like I also kind of would have liked it, because it would. Yes, City and United, there's that, we don't like each other, but
yeah,
I don't feel that intensity on the women's side as much. I mean, the players do. The players 1,000% do, but I don't feel it with the fan base as much. But Chloe Kelly going over there, that would have ratcheted things up. I would have properly hated that. Yeah. So seeing her go to Arsenal, I have some Arsenal friends. We have a WSL podcast, a part of our network, and two of the people on there are Arsenal fans. So I'm very intrigued to listen to their thoughts on it. But just from the jump, I hate
it. Because it makes you think about, is she actually going to get game time at Arsenal? Because certainly the last thing they need is another winger. So, yeah, Crunch thinks she's actually going to get game time. Will Sleggers actually rotate? Because the starting 11's pretty much the same, isn't it? Each week.
Yeah, and she can't do a false nine. We've tried to put her in a false nine position at City multiple times, so it's not like she can help as like a second striker type of vibe. So I would be very, very interested to see how it goes and what she does at Arsenal.
Yeah, see where she fits in. Because the post that you mentioned just there, it actually broke live on last night's podcast. And I was like, right, guys, stop everything. Stop reports. We need to go through this. Now, it was quite scathing, wasn't it? And like you said, it's the human side and the player side, but also it's the business aspect. Like the club's not going to let her go to a rival, which, to be debated if she does. But What kind of light does that put the club in, Crunk, do you think? Because it's not certainly not put Gareth Taylor in a good light as well, has it? So what were your thoughts when that broke?
It's same old when it comes to Gareth Taylor. We could do a starting 11 of players that Gareth Taylor has ran out of Manchester. And it's frustrating because a lot of those players were club legends, have gone elsewhere to become just like world beaters. And like the idea that we could, I'm sure she would have left by now, but the idea that we could possibly have like Rose Lavelle in this midfield, like I know there's tons of people, but that's like the one that sticks out the most, where I would love to have the Pel Pele on our team. Like that would be so dope. But yeah, the beginning of the season, I was all in on Gareth, and just the last month, I'm back out. Like for years, I was like, get him out of here. But I focused on the players, and the players sounded like they were in a good spot mentally. They were speaking very highly of how they're feeling about their playing beautiful football. But now that we've lost Bunny, we lost Temp. I know those are big losses to a squad, but everybody kind of seems struggling. Like I respect to Coombs, but I never expected that putting her in midfield would be the thing that would fix the club. She's come in and she's added a lot of solidity into our midfield, a lot of control that was needed. But also she's like, why is it just now finding out that it's been Coombs is the key? And Garrett just seems too slow, and he's gotten rid of coaching staff from previous years that I very much loved, and it's all on him now. So it's, for better or worse, if we don't seem to win any trophy at all, I don't even know who we would get in to replace, but I'm kind of over him, and I know my show bro Sharpie Charlie is very frustrated because we tend to gang up on him. He's our solemn Gareth Taylor truther, where we're all just like, get rid of that man. He drives me crazy. He dresses well, great dresser, but that's not a reason why you keep a manager.
We'll take some positives from that. But yeah, because like you mentioned, like Laura Coombs, like she's, we've seen what she's done for the England squad, like how much quality, the experience she brings. She's just been on the bench, a bit like Steph Horton, like towards the end of her career. Like, you've got these players, use them, even if it's for the last 15, 20 minutes of a match or whatever it may be. But yeah, there just seems to be a starting 11. And as you mentioned, with all the injuries, once they started coming through, it just didn't, like, there was such a disconnect. And we're going to talk about it, obviously, during the match, because Alexandre didn't have the best match in defence. But also, we can't talk either about our so. We'll talk all about it in a sec. But we've got some people in the chat. Good evening. Good evening to Carrie. Thank you for joining us. She says hi to us all. And yeah, Sophie mentions, Caroline Weir, Georgia Stanwyck, Kira Walsh, Lucy Bronze, all of these huge names. Imagine if they were all still in that City lineup. Like, it'd be such a different position, wouldn't it, in the league?
And those are players that have specifically, like, I guess they haven't said the word Gareth Taylor, but in interviews after they left City, they all but said Gareth Taylor is the reason why I left. I wanted to stay. I love the club. I love the direction that they were going, but I just couldn't figure out a way to be happy there. Just a lot of just like very directed conversation, pointed phrases towards Gareth, and it's tough. And even last year with a lot of the success, honestly, the last couple of years, my big thing was, I'm saying to the team all the time, I think the players are carrying the team more than Garrett's tactics are doing the thing, because like Bunny Shaw is just a legend. Hemp, just like unstoppable. Like when you have these players like that, it's kind of tough to fail. But it's just in matches, when to sub, who to sub, just the management. Like perfect example is the Manchester Derby. I swear the reason why they made no adjustments or no visible adjustments was because he couldn't sneak up to the highest point and watch the game and make his little notes, because he does that at every match. He runs up to the top as high as he can, and he watches, and then he comes down and they make the adjustments and it looks good. But if you're telling me you need to be above to do your job, like that's not great. That's not great.
No, it's always been a peculiarity of his, hasn't it? That he does that. How would you rate your transfer window so far, Crunk? Is there anyone else that you think you needed or you would have expected the club? Because hey, Sophie's on it tonight. Laura Weinreuther, rumoured to be off to City as well for the rest of the season, separate to the Chloe Kelly deal, as far as we know. But yeah, how would you rate the transfer window so far? Because there hasn't. Alana Kennedy's gone, as we know. You broke that with us. And of course, you've had Rebecca Canuck come in.
Yes.
Oh, she's been really good.
She's been amazing. But again, she's just an Alana Kennedy replacement. We still need
She looks like Alana Kennedy.
Yes.
She did.
It honestly, there are moments when we have certain players on, they all kind of do the high and tight blonde ponytail, or bun. So it gets a little rough at moments when they're kind of just all grouped up.
Yeah.
I love Knock. The physicality is great. She seems more comfortable on the ball and in one-on-one situations than Kennedy, but we still need that Greenwood, and Alexandria should be that person. She's great on the ball, but she is great on the ball for distribution, but when she's on the ball and anybody comes near her and they just push her off the ball. I mean, y'all saw it. That was how you got one of your goals, was just telling Azan move, and that isn't what you need in a center back. It's incredibly frustrating, and she's way too talented for me to be as frustrated with her as I have been, honestly, all of 2025, if I'm going to be honest.
All of 2025. Well, let's talk about it, shall we? Because we've teased it long enough. Now, Villa and City did meet last weekend on Saturday. We all forgot because it just seems like it's went past in a blur.
We did not know what day it was or what day it is today, to be honest.
That's fair.
But we're all here, so it's all good. We made it, guys. Now, the score going into it, we kind of said last week, Crunk, our predictions, we were like, it's always 2-1. It's going to be a 2-1, probably to City. And then when we got to 2-2, kind of, a bit of delusion set in that we thought, maybe it's a point from this. However, City did City things. But from your perspective, it had to be a must win, wasn't it, for City? So was that your expectation going into it?
Yes, I knew it was going to be tough. I'm saying this just because I'm here with y'all, but I've always been a fan of Aston Villa and the way that they play, and more specifically in the WSL than the Premier League, and just like the intensity, the fun, like you go for it, and that's always great. Struggled last year. I didn't see that coming. I was one of the people that was like, I think they're going to shock y'all and Liverpool. I've been really high on both squads, hoping that just they can get in that hump, because we just need more teams that can give Chelsea a struggle. Like that's all we need.
Absolutely.
That's all we need to be able to win. Is just one, maybe two more teams be able to just get points from Chelsea, and then that'll help us out. And and then Goder goes over there. It was stressful, and the way that the match started was came at us, and you're playing very attacking, just going into the spaces. Knack and Alexandria, neither of them are like fast, so I was very much worried about that. And I mean, the goals that y'all scored I would assume that that's how the game plan went. That like the week building up, you practiced and you got the goals exactly how you should. And I was just worried that y'all were actually about to run through us. Honestly, I was very worried from the beginning of the match, especially because Coombs was a late scratch. Once I saw,
yes, of course,
I saw her name, I was excited, because the moment she came in the last match, she was like, it was amazing. Our midfield, because with Miedema and Roard, we know that they want to score. Yeah, they do not care about defense. They do not care about tracking back or where they should be position wise. And that struggled, that we very visibly struggled. And then when Park came in, and she's been playing so much football, and she too also cares more about the attack. Yeah. So I was very, very worried about this match.
Yeah, because you were pressing so high that I mean,
There was so
again,
much space in behind. Yeah.
so much space. So kind of Emily, you were there, of course.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, Emma, were you there as well?
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Lindsay, were you there at that one?
Yep.
So cool.
Everyone apart from me. Oh, I'll get back to a match at some point. I'll get there. So Emily, I know we were talking about the lineup, weren't we? And then the subs that came on. Emily, did you think that lineup suited kind of what we wanted to do? Because we spoke last week about having Sarah Malin and Maz Pacheco. We needed their legs, and finally they came into the starting 11.
Yeah, so pleased to see Maz get a start. Just for her to, I'd like to, regardless of whether she ends up going anywhere or not. I think it's probably unlikely now on deadline day, but I was just so glad that she got to play at Villa Park again.
I know,
like to start.
calling for it all the time.
The lineup in general confused me a lot because we were like, we're going to play all the wingers again. What order they're going to be in along the front line, who knows?
Who knows?
And then, as it turned out, we sort of played Chastity furthest forward. Rachel was once again in midfield, as is her norm nowadays. And then we had Dree and Kirsty out wide. But I was surprised to see Chastity playing that role. But I actually think she was my player of the match for us, to be honest.
She did really well.
And I was saying, she's the kind of player that I think Villa, are crying out for. The fact that she's got the physicality, she's got the speed, and we saw it for that first goal, didn't we? And everyone just kind of went, oh, okay. Chastity can beat the defense. Sorry, Crunk. But Alexandri, she panics a bit, doesn't she, when she gets on the ball, Alexandri? So the fact that Chastity not only beat her, but was able to then just go, you know what, I'm going for it. Because we've seen too often, haven't we, Lindsay, with Villa, that they're trying to get it perfectly into the back of the net. So, Lindsay, for you, that first goal, what was that feeling like? Were you suddenly like, oh, we can do this now?
I was getting hopeful because our games against City are always really tight games. It's always just that small margin. It's always a 2-1.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like we're going to be competitive. We've had that 1-0 victory. Chelsea had that 1-0 victory over us earlier in the year. So, well, last season, this season, but last year. So got your baby, Ray. So we stand a chance of being competitive, and I was really positive. And then like that goal, it was just like brilliant. And the fact that Rach followed it in case it went anywhere near the woodwork as well, it just shows you how much they wanted that goal. And I just like buzzing.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Tracy, good evening, Tracy in the chat. She got the goal, so the positioning did finally pay off. Yeah, absolutely. Because again, like Emily said, when it came up on BBC Sport, the lineup, I was like, sorry,
Yeah.
where was Chastity playing? But it worked. It really did.
Yeah, like you said, she even later on in the game, she was getting those, like receiving the ball, and like you said, had the sort of physicality to hold off the defender and keep the ball, and then find a teammate rather than just trying to do that and it not working. I'm really curious if we do the same thing on whenever our game is this weekend.
Sunday. It's actually a Sunday this week.
I think on our first goal as well, that was something we did well then and did less well as the match went on. It was just it was such quick build-up play, like from Sabs over to, was it Sarah, and then she put the long ball over.
Yes.
Whereas it just, in general, that game, our tactics baffled me a little bit because that's how we were set up. Obviously, City were pressing really high, so there's all that space in behind, and then we kept trying to play it out like Sabs and Patsy passing it backwards and forwards to each other, and you're just like, what are we doing here?
Literally, like against any team, but especially against City, again, pressing so high. Do not
That's
pass
where
back
their goal came from, when Dan Turner did that sort of square pass to sort of nobody. I don't know if she'd mishit it or something, but whoever it was meant for, it didn't reach, and obviously we've pounced on it.
They have Darn City pouncing on these loose balls. Danny's put a good point in the chat. Good evening to Danny. The head coach of the Netherlands was at Villa Park, so the Dutch players on both teams put in a little extra effort, I think. Good. Because it's all the build-up now, isn't it, for the Euros? They're trying to get all of the info to who they are playing. Nick in the chat as well. Good evening to Nick. Chastity made some good runs, but didn't equate to much because Rachel was behind her.
That's that trouble, isn't it?
Yeah. Crunk, what do you think about Rachel Daly playing deeper rather than more attacking?
I get it because like she's a bulldog, like she's ferocious. Like I love her, honestly. But she's a goal scorer, and you kind of need that tenacity, especially against this club like City. I think if she was further up and she was able to kind of insert herself more, and I get why you do that, because if she's back, she can be kind of those trailing runs when because with the press you have to run aggressively to the ball, which leaves space behind. And I get why you do that, but it's a lot to expect of her, and she's been playing back there for so long. I worry that she's kind of has not lost her, but it's just like I felt like she was just such a goal scorer a few years ago. Like I felt like she was scoring every match, multiple a match, and was like single-handedly helping the squad be so successful. For them to be like, and especially because the aim is to score more than the team you're playing. So it's like put her in that position to score. Yeah,
play your best players in your best positions.
Exactly, not just where you're trying to shoehorn them into these different positions.
She mentioned in an interview she did, I think maybe last year or a couple of years ago, about what sort of contributed to her stepping away from the England setup, because obviously she was being played at left back, and I remember she said about it took a minute when she went back into England camp to sort of reset her mind set to that more defensive aspect of it, and then vice versa when she went back to club, getting into the sort of striker mindset. And I wonder, it's like you said about not losing the ability to do it, but the longer you play, the longer you play in a deeper role, or you're being asked to do different things, if you're constantly training all week to try and get that mindset in you, you are going to take a minute to try and get back to your just natural instincts of like goal poaching.
Well, especially because if you're a defender and you move up, the last thing you kind of want to do is take a rash shot, lose the ball, because now you have to run back again. So I just feel like when you're a defender,
your focus is different.
Yeah, exactly. Like the last thing you like, yes, you want to implement yourself, but also you don't want to lose the ball. And so it's tough.
Our trouble is now, especially with Kenza Dali having gone, our options in midfield are just so limited. So I can see why they keep playing her there.
Yeah, because that's what I'm going to say. Neo. I hope Neo. How do we think about Kenza leaving? Yeah, heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken. Like as Emily was saying, she was our creativity. Like, wasn't she in midfield? Like everything went through her, and when she was having a good match, that's when we were successful. And we know things off the pitch haven't been great, and that's kind of translated onto the pitch. And we want the best for her, of course we do. But yeah, I think Emily, did you count it up? We've got 3 midfielders.
Yeah, so Lucy Stan and Missy Bokearns are out injured currently, and apart from that, we've got three midfielders on the books.
Three midfielders. So during this window, we were like, they're going to bring in another midfielder. Would love another centre back, because again, injuries, we usually get them in the back line.
We've got a keeper.
We've loaned out our young up and coming goalkeeper, and we've lost a midfielder. So but I saw Emma Sanders' post earlier from the BBC that Villa were looking. We're still looking.
We're just window shopping.
Just window shopping. Yeah, we've got no money. So, as Emma said earlier, it's very much 50p in a Mars bar.
It was a chocolate button, Freya. We're not that good. It's just a chocolate button.
Just not even the giant chocolate buttons, just the little
The really
Just a
tiny
little-
ones where you get like 3 in a packet.
One of them for a new signing. Oh, honestly. Yeah, sorry, Tracy. Then you had to mention Kenza with crying faces. I know. However, that she's just posted today her new San Diego Wave
Ugh.
kit launch. She looks really happy.
Looks so good in that kit.
It's a cracking kit.
It
Very,
is.
very, very happy. Like, oh, honestly. But yeah. Hey, if she's happy without us, then it's okay. But yeah, ideally reinforcements should have been brought in. Now. So that was the Chastity Grant goal, which was in the 6th minute. Fantastic. And then the game was good for about another 20 minutes. However, Miedema, Viviana Miedema, has to do Viviana Miedema things, doesn't she? For the first goal, she, intercepted, didn't she? Got it in the back of the net. But then she had to go and do something incredibly special, didn't she? Crunk, what's it like to watch Viviana Miedema as she was? Because lots of people doubted her, didn't they, after the injury? Is she going to be the same player? How is she going to come back? But to get to score like that, you can't be angry.
No, not at all. What she plays at, I say this all the time, she plays at her own speed. Like, there are all these players like sprinting around her, and she has the ball, and it just almost feels like she's moving in slow motion. And I don't know if that's what throws people off. Like, one of my favorite basketball players of all time is Dirk Nowitzki, and it's just because he did very similar. Like, he plays at his own pace, but he was unstoppable. And it kind of feels that way with Miedema. She has the ball at her foot. She doesn't rush anything. Like, she can take just like 2 touches, and all of a sudden, like, people are falling down. It's like, what is happening? And just the pure technique, like, because she got the ball, she had all that space. I have no idea how they gave her all that space. And she just took a look at the goal and was like, okay, I know exactly what to do. And just the arc of the ball. And then the match was at 6 a.m. here in the US. So it was very rough when we were down. And then all of a sudden, just like, let's go, finally.
I'm awake now.
And I brewed my coffee at 6, but the match stressed me out so much I didn't touch it until halftime. So like it was an experience for sure.
I love it. And I don't know if you heard it on the same stream, Crunk, but the stadium announcer had a right mare with saying Miedema's name. I think he was saying Miedema. But you could hear the cogs turning as he was saying it and going, oh no, please get this out. It's going all wrong. Yeah, Medema. I think
it was all the names. Like right, it was all the names, like pretty much
everything.
Everybody's names. The Villa ones, because he's been trained for the Villa ones. He's used to the Villa ones. He literally stumbled over every single name and was sat there going, this is so embarrassing. Like for us as Villa fans, for the Man City fans coming here and seeing how unprofessional this is. Like, he should have done his research on phonetics because this is just awful.
And some of the subs he announced like 5 minutes later, probably because he was looking at the name and putting it through Google Translate to figure out how to pronounce it.
They were
looking at the number on it, right? That's a 6, I think, right?
And that happens a lot on like the commentary on the streams when we're watching. They struggle with everybody's name. Kasparaj, her name is murdered all the time. Alexandri, her name is murdered all the time. It's it's very interesting because it's like, what? It's frustrating because especially because you hear the same voice, so it's like if it's always you, why can't you get this figured out? Yeah. Or is there someone to tell them, hey, you're not doing this right? I don't know. It's frustrating.
That's the thing, because the funniest one was, I know we're not talking about them, but the Arsenal match midweek in the Cup, because they were wearing their No More Red kit, so it was all white and no names on the back. So, and you couldn't see the numbers, you couldn't see anything. So it was literally trying to tell all of the blonde players apart, which if you've done your research and know the WSL, you can kind of get there a bit easier. But the commentator was convinced that Blackstenius had scored. She wasn't even near the ball. It was Frida Mornham. And yeah, it was bad. But yeah, do your research. It's not hard, is it? But yeah, it was just Viv is well and truly back. But Crunk, I wanted to talk to you about Mary Fowler because she does pretty much the exact same shot, doesn't she? To make it was it 3-2 at this point? It was, wasn't it? So we'll talk about Mary Fowler and then we'll talk about our equalizer afterwards. But yeah, she's so underrated, isn't she? I mean, how good does it feel that people are starting to finally talk about her and pick up that, this has been a long time coming.
And she also, because she's ambipedal, like she can use either foot and she doesn't really seem to be better or worse with either foot. And just what she does, she is the reason why we were like, Chloe Kelly who? Like, it's just because she's come on the pitch, just able to score her own goal. She looks for her teammates. She tracks back. Like, she just does all the things that we were missing from Chloe Kelly. But no, I love her. She obviously, if you know, like her and Kasparov are like besties. Like they just are always together. And Kasparov is gonna be here for a while, and Mary Fowler gives off the same energy. Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of Mary Fowler. Like huge fan of her. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. Now, yeah, because she beat Kirsty Hansen to be able to curl it into the top corner, and it's just like, why did we have no defenders? We'll talk about again the defenders for the fourth goal as well, but my God. So, but we'll go back. We'll rewind it a little bit because at one point we were equal, weren't we? It did go to 2-2. This was, what was it, 6 seconds after the restart, and Kirsty Hansen crosses the ball into the box and it deflects off Alexandri to beat Yamashita to unfortunately go down as an own goal. But it was 2-2 for a little bit. Emma, what were your thoughts, when it was 2-2? What was that feeling like?
Well, I didn't even see the goal because obviously it happened so quickly. I was like everyone just started like cheering and screaming. I was like, oh, okay, I'll cheer. I guess we scored.
Something good's happened. Yay!
Yeah. And then obviously I had no idea who it actually came off. And then because they didn't announce it, we were like, okay, it's going to be an own goal here. But I was feeling really positive. I was like, okay, it's not the 2-1 we predicted. So, the delusion set in as it did with all of us. I was like, okay, maybe we might get a point. But then I looked at the clock. I was like, actually, it's 45 minutes and about 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's almost our downfall, isn't it? We look at the clock and go, wow, we can't keep it. Lindsay, was there ever a chance of us keeping it at 2-2, or what happened to City after that goal? Do you think, Lindsay? Because they stacked up.
I think
that we don't have.
Well, yeah, it just sort of all fell apart for us. It just seemed like we were holding on. From our perspective, we were holding on to about 50, 60 minutes, and then we just sort of just completely dissolved. Whereas City just seemed to just keep pushing and pushing, and the gaps they were patient and the gaps came. And we kept playing ball straight down the middle and putting pressure on players that we shouldn't. And they're not a team you can give opportunities to, and we pay for it.
100%.
We kept letting Rebecca Nat just she just had the ball from Yamashita and then just marched up the pitch with it. I'm like, what are we doing? Basically, this to the top of our box. Yeah,
it's like we need to stop that, guys.
I don't know. I don't really know. Like the first 10 minutes or 20 minutes of each half were okay, and then it's just each half we just seem to forget what we were trying to do.
Isn't there? Yeah, because could that be? So Emily, I'll stick with you because I know we were talking about subs. We started making subs around 55th minute, then it's 60-ish, 70-ish. With talk us through the subs.
Maz came off presumably earlier than maybe planned because I think she got injured. She had like some strapping on her calf after the match, which is when Paola came on. And then the second set of subs was...
So that was Jill for Retailer and Dree for Ebony.
I think we needed to make the change and bring Dree off because she wasn't having a great game. She hadn't been able to do very much. And I think sometimes it was probably a game that called for someone like Ebony, who sometimes will just have a shot, maybe even when she shouldn't. Yeah.
Go for it, yeah.
But the other substitution, I didn't really get. What minute did you say that was?
So 64. So that was Jill and Miri swapped as well.
Yes.
And then on the 77th, it was Dan and
so we were saying before about only having sort of 3 midfielders. And I think by that point, Jordan Nobbs had already been booked. And the way that sort of the game had been going, I didn't think Jordan Nobbs' yellow should have been a booking in the first place. So if that's sort of the level that the reffing is at, you don't know what she's going to give another yellow for. So I thought it was incredibly risky to leave her on the pitch. Not because she's not, like, she's experienced enough to adjust her game if she's playing on a yellow, but just because you can't predict what the ref's going to do.
It's not worth it then.
Exactly.
Down
imagine
to
facing Chelsea with no Jordan. But maybe Jill was still on limited minutes. I don't know. But it just seemed like an odd choice to me to bring her off and not Jordan.
Yeah, because Jordan stayed to the end, didn't she? And then maybe that then impacted her impact of the game because obviously she doesn't want to risk it either. Yeah, 100%. Because our other one, Sarah Malin came off for Maritz in the 77th minute as well.
That was I think she'd been trying to mark Viv most of the match and was just, she must have run out of legs.
Yeah, I mean you would, wouldn't you? Mark and Viv for that one.
Maybe you were going to say it, I don't know, but I didn't really get just straight up switching our centre backs. I don't get what the point of that was at 4-2 down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, because 77th minute, unless I don't know,
we could see Lucy warming up and thought, maybe he is going to pull Jordan. Maybe Lucy's going to play at the base of midfield or something. But no, you just swapped it for Dan Turner.
Yeah, because again, she's coming back to get minutes, but you'd think still at 4-2, you don't want to let that get any.
Yeah, he switched. So he switched. It was Maritz and Lucy Parker came on at the same time as City made the sub with Carolyn and Bunny Shaw coming on. So you think, maybe that's what, because when we played before, Lucy Parker played really well against Bunny Shaw, she did against Myra Ramirez when we played Chelsea. She's got that physicality and she can match them. But again, we're already 4-2 down. I don't know, what does that do? You don't need to make a sub to match their sub.
No, especially if it's like you said, it's not going to add anything. So speaking of that, Crunk, what was it like finally seeing Carolyn after her coming in this window? Impressed with those 20-ish minutes?
I mean, it was all right. I mean, it's tough putting her on. The score is a score. The last thing we want to do is kind of not necessarily run it up, but there was no need to try to score anymore. And I actually didn't want Bunny to touch the pitch at all because she is just coming back from some unknown lower leg injury and already up. I just saw, respectfully, because this is any team, is if you're up ahead, you're going to try to press, which means potentially fouling, going in a little bit harder to try to win the ball, show that you're just not going to be a pushover. And with somebody who gets taken down a lot and doesn't get a lot of calls, and again, it's just returning from an injury, the last thing I wanted to do is just have her get hacked. And she did. She got taken down and she was on the ground for a bit. And I was just like, Gabriel Taylor, I hate you. And like that, and that's the management that we need. There was no need, like, put anybody else in. I don't care. I know we need Bunny to get minutes and for her to run and get comfortable and all that stuff, but I just did not think that was the time to put her in. It was good to see her. It's always great to see Bunny. Big fan of Bunny. But yeah, I was in Carolyn. She is like, it's very much like when we brought in Mary Fowler. I wasn't aware of like how many people adore her, like media wise.
Yeah.
And same thing with Carolyn. I wasn't aware of how many eyes and cameras and attention, like the likes that we get on a post when Carolyn is on it compared to anybody else. It's easily like twice the amount. It's crazy. And I wasn't ready for that. So like her coming to the squad is going to help the brand on a whole other level, to help us kind of catch up with Arsenal, with Chelsea, because I think that's really what's, and Garrett Taylor, but that's really what's stopping us is, and with our brand is growing and getting players instead of, I just don't get it. How is everybody okay with going to Chelsea and just being one of a million players?
Yeah,
like, bro, like, how does that make any sense? And now Trinity Rodman and Sophia Smith, Lily Joannes are all tied to him too. It's just like, make it make sense. How? Yeah. What? I know we're not talking about them, but it's so frustrating. Just give us one.
No, it is, because you look at, I mean, the fact that Chelsea as a club are putting money into their team, phenomenal. That's the growth we want. But when you're getting to a point where you could fill 4 starting 11s quite nicely without dropping that much quality, and you think, one, there's, you know, a cap on the amount of players that you're allowed to sign, so where are they all fitting in? But also, if you've got your strongest squad that Sonia doesn't really change, she can, but usually her starting 11 is, you can pretty much pick it out, can't you? So all of these extra people coming in, it's like, well, like you said, where are they going to fit? Where are they going to go? Like, you've got teams like Villa, like Leicester, like Everton. Well, not so much Everton now, they've got some money, but other teams that you just think, just leave some for us, please. Like, if we could afford it, you know. But I suppose that's what you get when, you know, we're up to, because we're allowed 40%, aren't we, as a salary cap to spend on players. And, you know, some clubs are clearly spending more towards, you know, the higher percentages. And you get other clubs going, yeah, but do we really want to pay that £10 for that player? You know, do we really, you know, is it worth it?
And even with
Should
all
we
of
do
that, what frustrates me is, because I've talking with Man City and our charges and PSR and all that other stuff, because I was looking into it, a lot of the money that goes into the women's side is not necessarily not paid attention to by on the men's side, but they're like forgiven for a lot of the money. Like, it just comes in part of the PSR, what you're going to spend. So teams can easily put money towards their women's side, and it's almost like a write-off. So in the amount of money that you can put onto a women's side, get quality players for a fraction of the fee of a men's team. And that's kind of what frustrates me the most when it comes to women's football, where it's just like, Naomi Germer broke the record and it's £1 million. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you're telling me that you can't spend 20,000, 200,000, like Chloe Kelly's 200,000. You would think she'd be way more, but it's like, you're telling me that these squads, that's 1 week payment for some of your players. Like, and you're telling me that you can't spend that to bring in a quality player, knowing that it won't affect your PSR at all, really. So that's kind of been the most frustrating part of me watching, and especially like with United and rat. I guess I should ask about language, but rat poop. Like like
Go for it.
I call him rat shit, Ratcliffe at United, and how he came out and was basically pooing on the women's side, and it's like, that's not even a focus. And but you have brought in really great players. You could make a good run, and it's just it's just so frustrating. Like, bro, like $1 million could get you a all-star team, and that's nothing. It's just very frustrating.
Yeah, and it's almost, you want people at the top who are making these deals, who are pushing for that next level, who are pushing the quality. And the last thing you need is someone like him being like, nah, we'll get to them. And it's like, but no, they could make you so much money. Like the brand is growing so quickly. You need that infrastructure in place when it does really kick off. And they're probably, well, I hope they do. I hope they kick themselves when they realize, what they've been missing out on 100%. But yeah, no, we're looking at our empty transfer window like, oh, must be nice to be Chelsea. Because I've got a group chat with the other people on the Wednesday pod, and there's some Chelsea fans in there, and they've been loving life the past couple of days. And it's just like, all right.
It's like you said, even with the Kira Walsh, I think we said to you earlier, like,
yeah,
I don't get it. Because you look at
Why?
them, I know
is
from
Kira
their
Walsh-
perspective they want to strengthen their midfield, but like you've already got, Erin Cuthbert would start in like any other team in the league, and
Yeah.
I just don't get it. And then you look at their sort of the other, like you mentioned, the other players rumoured to go there in the summer, and you think, well, surely there's going to be some talented players leaving because they can't all stay there.
Yeah.
And if you're those other players that are already at Chelsea, you'd be thinking, well, hang on, what's going to happen to my playing time? Or maybe you don't think that. Maybe you just want to sit there and win trophies. I don't know.
Do we remember? Sorry, Crunk, this was a few weeks ago. I said we need Alison Swerby, who's just signed for Crystal Palace.
Oh, Crystal Palace.
Till 2027.
Crystal Palace. Jamaican international Alison Swerby from
She's
AC
great.
Milan has gone on a permanent
You
deal.
could have done with her. Defender.
Contract 2027.
Wow.
You know what? We need to have a chat. We need to have a chat with this club because we made a list, Crunk, of like all the people who were like, right, who's not getting minutes at their club? Who can we pinch? Who can we nick? And she was one of them. I'm just having a look if there's any other things that we missed. So we talked about Laura Weinreiter.
I don't think anything else has happened.
Let's have a look. No, I don't think so. She says nothing else expected at West Ham. Leicester have signed a forward.
Icelandic forward.
Yes, Eric Stottir. Yep, she is here till 2027. Even Durham in the Championship. I know we're not talking about the Championship. Durham are also making moves. Like the Durham of last season, they were like mid-table. They were forgotten about, and now.
Hey, and shout out to Durham because City have had many players that have come from Durham and ended up at City, like a good handful of them. So there's always a nice love and respect towards Durham, and I just kind of love their energy. I don't know too much about them, but whenever we do play them, and especially at their stadium, and I just love that there's just people hanging in the stadium, outside the stadium. There's like you hear dogs barking and stuff. It's just like I love it.
Yeah, so Durham Stadium, so where I'm from originally, you're split between, well, everyone's team is usually Sunderland, but Durham are an independent team. So I'm technically from County Durham, so I'm from there, essentially. But where they play Maiden Castle, there's just like a massive hill, and then it's right near the river as well, and you just think, if, one wrong tackle and you're just in the river. It's all gone. But yeah, it's a small ground, and it's always freezing. It was snowing there the other week, as well, and you just think, what is happening in this little pocket of the north? But yeah, Durham are growing. Durham really, really are. They've also said last one, not expecting anything else for Spurs.
At least she hasn't said Villa yet.
Hasn't said Villa. We're still looking.
An hour and
Does.
45.
Of course, it's 9:10.
I'll buy expensive chocolate biscuits for them.
There's still time to go to the shop.
I just don't get it. Is there not like a team, like a players from a lower level? Because City, we have pilfered the lower divisions and brought a few of our young players up. I mean, sorry, don't mean to bring up Blinkilde, but like also her, like that situation. Like obviously not, you can't get her back from us, but like I feel like there are other young players, our upcoming players who want to
try.
I mean, you can try. I would like. I mean, I've grown very fond of her. I am a big fan of Blinky, and
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's great. I definitely understand why everybody likes her.
Somebody said to me earlier about like it's almost like we're sort of holding out for like the perfect fit, whereas our squad is so it's getting down to the bare bones again. Like we just need players.
Yeah, there's even people like Amelie Thestrup or player like obviously we don't need another forward, but like there are some quality players in the championship that you think bring them up.
You don't need to like where we are in the league and how our season's gone and stuff. We're not going to attract like a marquee signing, so
no, you
need to just
bring the reality of the situation and go that way. Yeah,
think about how much investment like London City Lionesses have done and Blues have done. They might have some players that they've signed that are big names that either don't fit into the squad because of ego or just I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that their attitude, because they're used to playing at a higher level, isn't compatible with the level that they're playing at. Or they're just out of favour and they're like, well, we don't want them, and they're good enough to come and sit on our bench and we can develop them and keep them if they're worthy. So
100%. It's all about giving talent a shot, though, isn't it? Like we need to take more punts on youngsters, especially because all of our youngsters keep getting taken by Man City.
I wonder if that's what we'll see. If we don't make any signings, I wonder if we'll see some more of our academy youngsters on the bench for games.
Yeah, Chelsea and Arsenal and City can sign them.
Just keep them hidden at Bodymore, don't like.
Yeah, just hide them from the team.
Like Rachel Maltby. I know she's not centre back, she's sort of full back, but
yeah, bring her in, give her the experience because ultimately we do need those players coming up. 100%. Right. Usually I love a good segue, but there's not a nice one to come in now. But Lindsay, I know we were talking a bit about the refereeing as well. What were your thoughts on the reffing at the weekend? Kind of touched on it already, but
I'll get muted if I say what I think.
And then
the polite version is there was some interesting decisions made, like there was a handball and no card, and it was given as a throw-in.
Yeah, that was weird. That was very weird.
That was weird. And then there's been challenges like Jordan's yellow card. Was it a yellow card? Was it not? I'd have to properly sit there and go through the match and see if there's like a culmination of things that caused that. But there's been other challenges that happened, and it's like, well, that actually is a yellow card, and it wasn't given. And there were free kicks. Like I think Maz was being kicked around on the floor, and nothing was given. And then they gave a handball because she touched the ball, thinking that the ref had blown for a free kick to her, and then she got penalised for it. Yet something else happened with a City player that was absolutely nowhere near as bad, and they got a free kick straight away. So it's like, what actually is going on with this ref? And it's not consistent. If it was consistent, it would be fine. But like Emily said, like the ref is so unpredictable. Like you don't know what's going to happen. So I think it goes back to the age-old argument that we have literally every podcast, which is they need to get refereeing standards up and to a better level because it's ruining the game. And we've had worse referees, thinking the Leicester game, to talk about. But it wasn't the best at all.
No.
There was that.
I'm proud of you.
There was that the handball where like Kasparov picked it up before it had even gone out. I was just like, what are you doing?
Yes.
And then she went to take the throw in. I was like, well, if it is a throw in, it's definitely not yours because I just picked the ball up.
You can just see it playing through their minds, can't you? Like, can I chance it? Can I get away with it? Yeah, it's out, isn't it? Yeah, I'll pick it up. Unfortunately, Sophie in the chat has confirmed Jordan's yellow was definitely a yellow, straight up tactical.
I'd say it was a yellow.
Was it the one where they sort of
There was no ball.
Both
involved.
toppled over each other, or was that not it?
Yeah, it was that one. But she kind of, Leon was running up with
that
the
was
ball,
it. Yeah.
and I can't remember who the City player was, but then Jordan came clattering into her, like, and tussled her to the ground, but had no contact with the ball at all. And then they just started rolling around the floor. It was quite funny
That's
to
how you
watch.
play football, right?
Yeah, it's that, there was some sort of studs flying around, wasn't there? I remember.
Ooh. Okay. Well,
Half remember.
well done. Okay. Yeah, but again, we've seen games, lost on bad refereeing as well. And yeah, if it's consistently terrible, you can kind of gauge where the line is. You can kind of play for the line, can't you? But yeah, if it's all over the place, you've got no chance, have you? So we were at 3-2 with Mary Fowler's goal. And the last one, of course, just when we thought maybe we could just edge it through. City's quality shone through, didn't it? Kirsten Kasper, we talked about it quite a lot, but this fourth one was all down to her, wasn't it? That lovely little run down the right, the cross in, and Jess Park. We need to talk about how much space she was in. What was that? Yeah, just the connection. Like, Jess Park, such a cracking little player, isn't she, Crunk?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I say this about all the players. I just love her so much. Our nickname for her is Spark, Jess Park. So it just works perfect. And yeah, she just, from the moment she started playing on the squad, everybody was like, oh yeah, she's one that you can watch. And that she just got on the ball and just takes on people. No fear. I love that. And her getting that goal, she's kind of needed because she has struggled this season. And I'm hoping that is what's needed to kind of dealing with Roard and Miedema, and for Park to be most effective, it's her taking on players. It's with the ball at her foot. And now she needs to learn how to be effective off the ball. And this kind of helps. This fourth goal was it was the best team goal in the entire thing, where all our other goals were just individual brilliance. And this was a lot of just trusting your teammates. That was Garrett Taylor football, whereas all the other ones were just Miedema, man. It's Fowler, bro. Of course they're going to be able to score. But yeah, that was a fun goal. That was a nice topping to the match. Yes,
it was indeed. And Emma, it nearly got to 4-3, didn't it? But
yeah,
old friend
Daly in the offside.
Old friend, the offside flag. There must be. Imagine if she got a bonus for every offside flag that had happened to her this season. Like, it's not even funny.
She'd have 7 packs of chocolate biscuits.
That's how we're doing worse now. In chocolate
M&S as
biscuits,
well.
I like it. Because Emily, there was some controversy whether it was actually offside or not, wasn't there? But because it wasn't to her, the ball wasn't being played to her, and some people were saying,
didn't it come off a City player?
When the ball was played forward, I think that was her and Paola were. And I think Paola was higher up than she was. And then it was knocked back by the City player anyway.
Yeah.
But I guess the flag was for Paola being offside. I don't really know.
Not. Yeah,
I only watched it back once.
Yeah, so I think because people were like, oh, but it came off like the City defender. And I think, yeah, that's like the crux of it. It wasn't Rach that was offside. It was because the initial play was offside, and that's what was flagged. But, I mean, if it was a 4-3, that would be the very technical term of a ding-dong.
Was it? Ding-dong. Was that like the 93rd minute? So there was hardly any time left, was there?
No, really, really late on. But could you imagine if it was just that last bit, that might have just had a bit more hope.
We should have just booted it. If that had been given, win the ball back from the restart and just take a shot.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about? I didn't realize you were allowed to, but Yamashita was wearing a cap for the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a bit confused about that, but surely it's
because you messaged the chat like, if we allowed a cap, and it's like, yeah, if the sun's in your face, surely.
Yeah, I hadn't seen a Kiefer wearing one before, and she was.
There's I can't remember his name.
What if she falls to the ground?
I feel and especially that first goal, you could definitely tell the sun was in her eyes. Obviously it was a good goal, but you could almost see her like squinting, and it's just like,
like hope for the best. Like where's it coming? Yeah.
She was
way as well. If you look at her footwork, she dived the wrong way and had to correct herself.
She was so high up for so much of that match, though. Like, she was so far out the box, and you just imagine if we could have just
taken advantage. Yes, just done a lovely like floaty lob over the top. That would have been.
The couple of times I think in the second half when, I think it was quite late on, maybe, but Kirsty had that sort of. It wasn't even a shot, I don't think, and I don't know why Yamashita didn't catch it. She sort of scooped it out to the side.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like we definitely could have taken advantage of that more.
Yeah, no, we absolutely could. Because again, different playing style to what Keating might have done as well. Just some stats then to finish off. Not that we probably should. City had 18 shots. We had 3. City had 8 shots on target. We had 1. Sabs had to make 4 saves. She had to be on it, didn't she? But again, nothing she could have done for Miedemar and Fowler's wonder goals. We had 10 fouls. Compared to City's 3, so clearly we're better. But only 1 corner.
At least we're winning at something.
Hey, that's the spirit. And only 1 corner to take advantage of.
Due to like 362.
I know, yeah. Just couldn't get them. But yeah, I mean the stats aren't good, but it kind of shows again like the massive gap between the top and the middle to bottom teams, doesn't it? We just again lack that quality to finish, to get the ball over in the net. Attendance though, just over 3,000. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because on the camera, it looked like there was loads of gaps and stuff. Is just
there was loads on our row.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, is atmosphere getting better? Would you say?
Somewhat, I'd say. I'd still prefer Bescott.
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably about the same.
About the same. Okay.
Yeah.
One day we're going to get it. We're going to get it up. Before we go on to our last little bit, has anyone got any other bits from the game they wanted to discuss? Have I missed anything? Lindsay, go on.
Just wanted to say, just touch on the when Kenza came out and everybody stopped watching the game and they all turned around and started chanting to Kenza, and she looked so touched and emotional, and it was like, she knows she's been done dirty by the club, but the fans love me. But I don't think she actually processed how much so until that moment, and then she came back out at half time. And I don't know who was doing the music, but someone was playing Numb by Linkin Park. And I don't know whether that was a dig or someone was just being cheeky, but got the words just right as she came out. And I was like, do you know what? That's a bit of a 2 fingers up to you to the club. But whoever did it was bang on, because it's like subtle, but it's sympathetic background, you call it in English. But I was just like, that's just perfect. But she was great with the fans, and she came and said hello, and she made time for everybody. And shout out to Tracy, who got a photo with her at the end, and I think she went away and had a cry, which probably I'll get flat.
She looks so sad.
It's just an emotional time, so it's just a big shout out for Kenza, and it's great that Kenza got a goodbye for everything she's done for the club.
Yeah,
it's good that she got that send off. So even though the social media post was awful. She's had to do her own good post. Like, it's just been handled so badly. It was like, well, the fans made it for her, and I think that will be a memory she'll take with her when she goes to America. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I hope so. Lindsay, I'll stay with you for this one then. Neil put in the chat, I wonder if she would stay if the coach was replaced earlier. Do you think there's anything we could have done to save her?
I think the move to America got put up. If it was me personally, I would have had that emotion sort of looking November time, knowing the situation that I wasn't going to get played. I've been outcast. I was being sidelined. You know, I make team of the year, but I can't get us in my own team's starting lineup. It's not like we're not Chelsea, so it's not like she's going up against other people in the same setup. It's like she should be starting, and the fans are calling for it, and nobody's doing it. So I think, you know, potentially if we'd had a different manager or Carla was still been there, then I don't think necessarily she would have gone. I think, but then with everything that happened in the summer and it's happened to her last year, it might be that she just wants a new chapter, and it's that kind of thing. So you never know what's going through a player's mind, and we just got to respect her decision and just, you know, hope that it works out for her, and she'll always be welcome at Villa Park. So
yeah, of course. 100%. Brand new start in the sunshine. Exactly what the doctor ordered.
And one second. You said "Numb" by Linkin Park was playing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like I'm a big fan of Linkin Park, but I just
Linkin Park,
and I was like, wait, did she say
no, it genuinely was that, and it was the wording as she walked out was. I won't go into it, but if you know the song, there were specific lines that are very powerful, and they were playing just as she was walking around, and I was like, that couldn't be any more perfect.
Wow.
And bitchy any other way. And she wasn't paying attention to what was going on. And I turned to Gary, who sat next to me, who's normally on the pod. And I was like, Gary, what are they doing with this music? Because she's literally, it's an absolute burn, but I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was. No, I'm really glad she got that moment, because you're right. She deserves it. You know, she's done so much for us and for the club. When you just think, yeah, she needed that send off.
I was sort of surprised for her to still be there. I'm glad she was. I
thought she would have gone. Yeah,
I just didn't expect her to be.
No, and a lovely little surprise for sending off. Now then, let's look at the table, shall we?
Just quickly, Freya, speaking of someone who wasn't there, I don't think the new manager was there yet.
Yes,
because I'm pretty sure she only came.
No, she didn't fly until Monday.
Yeah,
it
wasn't until the other day she flew in, because we were all like, "Oh, cutting it a bit fine." But we're going to talk about it. Don't worry, we're going to.
Okay, sorry.
Hold fire, just for a few minutes. Now, so this is what the table looks like. Now,
let's look at it.
Yeah, we'll just look at City instead. So City, of course, in third at the moment, just, of course, 1 point ahead of Arsenal. Now, Crunk, do you think anyone's going to take points off Chelsea, or is it just a case of solidifying Champions League at this point?
I don't see it happening, especially because like Macario the players that they have been missing are now starting to become healthy, and they've been able to make it through on putting players in positions that they aren't the strongest in. And yeah, just even looking at the rest of their schedule, I mean, obviously the match against City is a big deal, and then they play United and Liverpool. It's possibly the last match of the season. Like, there are games, but Liverpool's, unfortunately, they've been very disappointing, and I will never trust Manchester United. So it's just like it kind of is what it is. As long as I would like to get ahead of United, I just don't ever want to be struggling to them. They should never have anything positive over us. Like, they are the laughing club. They are the opinionated neighbors. So as long as we get above, that's my trophy of the season, is we didn't lose to United.
No, I don't think anyone could believe it, that derby. We won't talk about it, don't worry. But like the way it all unfolded, we were just like, this is happening. What? But you're only 2 points behind at the moment, so that is so easily caught up on, isn't it? However, your game this weekend, of course, at home against Arsenal. What are you predicting for the weekend, Crunk? What do you feel? Because again, it's got to be a must-win, hasn't it?
It definitely is. I feel better because we will have Bunny back. Carolyn will be back. Hemp is getting close, but Carolyn will be back. Carolyn's here, but I will be interested to see who plays what. I was excited. Oma was able to replace Yui getting subbed off like twice this season, which like never happens. So that's exciting. I just also never want to lose again to Arsenal. Like it's miserable. I just don't want it to happen. So I'm hopeful. Having Bunny back is just that person up top, and as long as Arsenal doesn't play awful, no McCabe, so I guess we don't have to worry about her, and her tackles are bludgeoning one of our players on the top of the head with the football during a throw in. So like I'm optimistic. I will just say that. I will never say we're going to lose. That is the Delulu in me. Is I will never say we're going to lose, but will we draw? I don't know.
You've got to be positive, haven't you? Like you've got the quality. Arsenal again have also got the quality, but both sides have shown, there are some weaknesses there, haven't they? Speaking of weaknesses, look who we've got at the weekend. We've got Chelsea. Yay!
Do us a favor, yeah.
Oh, 100%. Hey, we're winning 10-0. I don't know what everyone's got to do. Could you imagine? So Villa, of course, sitting 9th on 10 points, same as Everton, but slightly better goal difference. As long as we don't lose by 2 or more, I think we'll be okay. If we lose by any more, of course, Everton play Leicester.
I know
they are directly below us by a point. So, if anything, I'd love to win. I'd love to get a point, but ultimately, we just can't lose by a stupid amount. Because
so not 6-0.
Yeah, like even if we lose, whatever happens in the other game, we're gonna end up in 10th.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it's going to go. I mean, Crystal Palace are away to Brighton, and again, that won't affect anything in that sense. I'd love Crystal Palace to pull something off, but so it makes it tighter. But it's that battle for relegation is horrendous, and I just hope we can do enough. But unfortunately, of course, we've just had a couple of the biggest teams back, haven't we? So, of course, the biggest change is we've got a new manager finally coming in. Natalia Arroyo. She flew in, what was it, Tuesday? We thought Monday, Tuesday. Crunk, I don't know if you saw, they released some training pictures and everyone looked miserable. So we hope it was just serious face, they were getting into it rather than, oh God, what's happening?
We're really good at releasing training footage, so clearly they just got the best bits.
The unseen footage of the stuff that never happens. We get TikToks of them walking into training and then it's like they disappear and you never hear from them again until the next session. So what we've heard about her then, Emily, are you looking forward to this next step, this new evolution? Because she seems quite positive, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what I think we need to, or I need to, sort of just take a little step back and be like, we were on paper at the start of the season, we were always probably going to lose these 2 games, like Man City and Chelsea. So if you look at it that way, I'm more interested to see how we face up against like Leicester in a couple of weeks' time, rather than and use that as a like measuring stick, rather than like I think this weekend might just be a bit carnage.
Yeah, it's looking at, like you said, looking at realistically, which games should we be taking points and which games actually let's try something. Let's just do our best to contain rather.
I don't think you won't even really be able to compare this weekend's match to when we played Chelsea in the first game of the season, because we played well in that match, but Chelsea also weren't firing yet. So like even if you compare how we play, I think you've also got to take into account, like if we play really badly on the weekend, I don't think it will necessarily be a reflection of, or if the game goes badly, it won't be a reflection of us having gone backwards that much since the first game. I think it'll also be because Chelsea will just be being their runaway train that they are.
Yeah, I think they've just got a quality that you just hope to give our all against, and hopefully not just not be defeated by a horrible amount. Lindsay, what do you feel about new manager coming in? What do we need her to bring ideally to shake it up?
We need some direction. Last season we were quite stale, and then since the summer we've just gone backwards and sunk like the Titanic. Excuse my cat.
No.
So I think for us we just need some direction, some experience, some knowledge, and basically to build on Carla's legacy. And try and take it that next step forward. And it might mean that some players aren't going to hear what they want to hear, but hopefully it'll help them bring their game on, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, keep pushing to what their potential is. Emma, what do you think? Feeling hopeful?
No.
Silence and everything.
Well, we always tend to play really well. I say this after losing 4-2 to City, where we played not too great. But we always tend to play quite well against the top 3 or 4 teams in the league.
Usually.
So maybe we might like hold off. I think Natalia's tactics might be interesting to see. Like, has she got the right tactics? Have we got strange subs? Like, are we going back to Robert DePauw's subs where we put all our wingers on and then switch to put all our defenders on? Like, you know, is it going to be like that? Are we going to roll the dice and put all 2 of our keepers on at the same time? Like, you know,
maybe that's what we should do.
We keep saying.
I mean, you could always get. That's one we've not tried yet, so why not give it a go? Why not give it a go against Chelsea of all teams?
Yeah, get Talbot on, get her in goal, and
Perhaps some sort of rush keeper at the top of the box, just feet only.
I would have kept the 4, not centre on loan, and played her a striker.
Yeah,
done. Yeah. Still gutted she's gone to London City. I do have to laugh though. We've got Riley in the chat who said, after all the hype of transfers and money and Invincibles, it'd be hilarious if Villa beat us. Imagine though. Imagine they've paid nearly £1.5 million ish, and Villa rock up and win 1-0. Imagine.
I love that.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
I do want us to set up defensively. Like, we need to play for a draw.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the most realistic thing. But you know, we dare to dream. We dare to dream on this podcast.
Do we have the depth to set up?
Have we ever scored against Chelsea?
What was that, Emma?
Have we ever scored against Chelsea?
I'm sure.
Because I'd love to score against them. I feel like that'd just be great. Like, the atmosphere would be cracking.
We'll have to.
Not in the
don't
last
remember
couple of
scoring
seasons,
against them.
No.
Because even in that FA Cup, the semi-final, 1-0, wasn't it?
Yeah. Then no, probably
That was heartbreaking.
Maybe we'll double check.
In 2022, that was the last time you scored against them in a 3-1 loss.
Oh, hey, even 3-1 wouldn't be great. Let's aim for that. Let's just aim for not giving Hannah Hampton a clean sheet. That can be the aim. That can be the aim of the weekend, I think.
Karma for leaving us, that is.
100%. I do have to put Nick's comment up there. Natalia said, we need to grow the crowd at Villa Park. But Villa say, the family fun zone and the lower grounds are closed this weekend. So taking away the atmosphere. It's just, that's Villa. That's us. That's us. But so we shall see. We shall see the tactics that she brings, and hopefully it's exactly what we need. And who knows, deals might get done. We've still got, 20 to 9.
Maybe Kira Walsh is going to come to Villa.
Oh, yes. In fact, it's all a rumor.
How many chocolate biscuits do we need to pay her?
Can you imagine, though, if we had Kira Walsh and Jordan Nobbs in the midfield? And then Jill Byings.
Oh, that midfield
running around causing chaos.
Perfection.
And Miri Taylor.
Let's do it. Let's get a call into Kira and say, right, divert your plane.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff London. Straight to Birmingham.
It's still London. It's it's still the area. It's not too bad, right?
It's a couple of hours.
It's decent.
It's hard. I mean, London might as well be its own country at this point. Like, it's very, no. But you never know.
We pay in chocolate biscuits and not money.
Yes,
an interesting
Chelsea have
policy.
actual money that they can play with. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Are there any other bits of business anyone would like to mention before we go?
I can't remember who I said that other midfielder that we should get was. Not that's going to happen. So.
I don't know.
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
No, don't worry.
We'll think about it. We'll think about it for next time. But yeah, perfect. Right. I think that wraps us up then, pretty much. Crunk, has been fantastic to see you again. Of course, hoping you have the best rest of the season for City. Where can people find you if they'd like to find more about Man City?
Yeah, so Shades of Blue podcast. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky. Basically, if we are on a social media app, you can find us at Shades of Blue NW, Shades of Blue NW. We have our weekly Man City podcast. We have a Patreon that does 20 plus hours of content a month. We have a few other podcasts in our network. The 12 is a WSL podcast for people who are into like WWE, AEW. We have a wrestling podcast called Your Favorite Wrestling Podcast. We just find us at Shades of Blue NW, and you can find out all about us from there.
I love it. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Emma, thank you. If people want to find more of you, where can they find you?
_MAHW_ on Instagram. Twitter, I think, is the same.
Yeah, Twitter never lets me tag you. So yeah, we'll go with that. You can find Emma through me if you need
and
to.
I think TikTok's the same as well, but I don't really post on TikTok.
Okay, we just doom scroll. Doom scroll. Never posting, just doom scrolling. Emily, thank you very much for everything. Where can people find you if you want them to, please?
I'm mostly post things on Twitter sometimes. Sarah Vember. Again.
Sometimes.
Gaming handle. Yep.
Maybe. Maybe there's some football thrown in there. And Lindsay, thank you very much. We're very proud of you this week for your knowledge. If people would like to find more football stuff from us, where can they follow?
The whole 115 yards, and that's on all social media platforms.
Yes, hey, you've been practicing. Well done. I'm so proud of you. Yes, so part of the pride, of course, is the child of the Hull 115 Yards and the Aston Villa Women fan club. And I would tell you where to follow us, but I've got a new outro video that's going to do exactly the same thing. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching, listening. Everyone new in the chat, thank you so much. And if you don't follow us, the information will be on the screen.